Today I want to talk to you about my experience that I've had with fasting and prayer. So my whole life, fasting has been one of the most difficult commandments to keep because I'm hungry all the time. I always feel like it's such a sacrifice to go without food or water for 24 hours or 2 meals. So for me, it's just been very difficult. But recently I've been trying my best to keep this commandment and do my best to fast for the whole time. So what I did is I went into the Gospel Library app and I just typed in fasting because I was like, well, if I want to get better at fasting, if I want to focus on this, let me learn a little bit more about it and study about it. And I read and listened to a couple of the first talks that popped up. And there's this one really good talk where he was able to get fasting with his family, and he had several kids, how he was able to get fasting set up where they would start their fast around lunchtime on Saturday, the day before Fast Sunday, and then they would end their fast around lunchtime after they got off of church. And his explanation and his testimony was that it was a great experience to be able to end their fast around the time right after they left church, because they would be at like a spiritual high. And for me, I've always ended my fast around like 6 or 7 o'clock at night because I would start later at night at like the day before on dinner time. So for me, I've been recently doing it at lunchtime, and it's been an amazing experience because at the end of my fast, I'm at church, I'm in sacrament meeting, I'm in my lesson, Sunday school. And I felt the Spirit extremely strongly, and especially for the purposes I'm fasting for. Now, why do I want to fast? Why has this been like a desire that I've had recently? It's like, well, I've read a couple scriptures that have hit me pretty strongly about Alma when he met up with the sons of Mosiah, and he saw that they were still his brothers in Christ, and they had power. And how did they have power? It was through much fasting and prayer. And you read in the scriptures that a lot of the even Alma, when he met Amulek, he was like, "Hey, do you have any food? I've been fasting. Do you have do you have any food for a servant of the Lord?" And I'm starting to see a lot of the time that these prophets and these the experiences in the scriptures is they're fasting for strength. And there's a story of Jesus Christ when he's able to cast out the demon out of the boy because the father asks him, because the apostles weren't able to do it. And Jesus said, "Oh, this power is only through much fasting and prayer." So that has been a desire of mine. I would love to have more faith, more strength, be able to have this in my life and have a stronger belief in Jesus Christ. And from Jesus Christ's mouth himself in the scriptures in the New Testament, it says this only comes through much fasting and prayer. So that's something that I know I've needed to improve on. So reading those talks in the Gospel Library has really helped me to start my fast and know that I should start my fast around 12. And this isn't just like a rule for everyone. This is just to help me. Start the Saturday before around 12 or 1 or 2, and then end after your church is over. And you'll be at that spiritual high. You'll feel good. And, I believe it will help you guys because it's helped me. Now, let me tell you about the amazing spiritual experience that I had with fasting, because I'm trying to be more focused on my fast, on like the needs of others, and not only that, but like my purpose for fasting, not on the hunger, right? Because again, you're going without food and water, you're going to be hungry. But as you get those hunger pains and you feel like, oh man, I wish I could eat or drink something, you focus on what the purpose is of your fast. Now, recently, I've been trying to figure out how I can share the gospel more, because I live in Canada and I work from home. I don't really meet a lot of brand new people to share the gospel with in person. I go to church, and just my interactions with people aren't that many. So I've been praying and fasting on figuring out how can I share the gospel more. And it was really awesome. So I had this experience where the Saturday where I was fasting, it was my father-in-law's birthday. This was a couple weeks ago. What we did for his birthday is we gave him a pickleball net. And he's like, "Hey, let's go try out my pickleball net at the church," because we have a key to the church here. So we went and played some pickleball in the gym. And before I got there, I was journaling and my pen ran out of ink. And I said, "Hey guys, before I play pickleball, I'm going to look in the library here at the church for another pen," right? Because I ran out of ink. Just because I wanted to write a little bit more while I was there at the church. And I looked in the library and I found a pen pretty easily. But then my thought was like, you know what? I've been a part of this branch for about 8 months now. Just moved here recently, but I've never really checked out the church. I kind of wanted to see what other rooms they had, like what was going on. Maybe they had some other materials I could use for journaling. And I looked around, and I'd never done that. I've been visiting this church here where we live now for several years now, probably like 6-7 years since I got married to my wife, and we'd come and visit. So I've been in this church, but I've never really been in a lot of the rooms. I would just go to the sacrament meeting or the cultural hall or whatever, the sacrament room. But this time I was like, well, let me look around. I just felt impressed to look around. And I ended up going into the church history room, right? And I've never been in that room. I didn't even really know it existed. And I went in there, and I was just looking around, seeing what books they had in the church history room and all that. And I stumbled upon a book that said, "Every Member a Missionary." And I was like, whoa, okay. And look, how many times do you look around and see books? But I saw this one. I think it was buried under some other books, but I saw this and I said, okay, that's interesting. That's what I'm kind of praying for, is how to share the gospel a little bit more. That's what I'm fasting for. And I started reading the book, and I'm still reading it right now. And it was an answer to my fast. It basically explained how to share the gospel more, and how every member should be a missionary. And it's been an excellent book. I think it's by Clayton Christensen. I believe he's passed away now, rest in peace. But anyway, I was reading it, and it basically said that in the first 20 pages I read that being someone's friend is not a prerequisite to sharing the gospel with them. And I always kind of felt like, hey, maybe I should be more of their friends. Maybe I should, before I share the gospel and invite them to church or let them know about what I did this weekend, I should be their friend, so they don't think I'm just trying to invite them to my church and be baptized, and without me knowing them. But this book, what it said in the first 20 pages is that through his 20 years of trying to be a strong member missionary, that the amount of friendship that you have, the years of friendship, do not make someone more interested in the gospel than if you just aren't friends with them and you just share it because you care about and you love others. And I thought that was so interesting, because I was like, wow, I thought, again, you would have to be really good friends with someone before you're willing to share the gospel, because maybe you don't want to come off too aggressive. But his experience was, no, you don't have to be really good friends with someone to be able to share the light and the truth and knowledge that you have, the scriptures, your testimony. So that really helped me, because I have a couple neighbors that I was kind of holding back on here in Canada that I met, and I didn't want to talk about the gospel too soon. I wanted to make sure I was friends with them first. And even had the missionaries over at my house, and I introduced them to my neighbors just to say hi, but I wasn't hey, I didn't talk too much about the gospel with them, to be honest. But after reading this, I was like, no, I can bring up the gospel topics more. And what I've done since reading that is, I said, hey, have you gone to church? I've just talked to them more openly. I've shared what the missionaries do. Haven't invited them to church yet, but I have been more open with talking about my faith. And it's been a good experience. So that's, in a long story, that's how I've had one of my fasts answered recently. Is went into the church history room, which I've never been in over the 7 years that I've been here. I found a book that answered literally what I was praying about, how I can share the gospel more. And the book tells me and shows me different ways to share the gospel. And as you guys know, I just started this channel as well, and this is another way that I feel like I can share the gospel. I can share my testimony. So if you've been struggling to fast and pray, and it's been difficult for you like it's been for me, these are my recommendations. I would recommend starting after lunch. Don't do it at dinner time. On Fast Sunday, do it from lunchtime. So when you end your fast, you're pretty much done with church, or you're leaving church, and you're at that spiritual high, and you're feeling good because you were at church and took the sacrament, and you feel the Spirit. That's one of my recommendations. And I would recommend, when you are hungry, just to remember the purpose of your fast, to remember, okay, this is the sacrifice I'm doing. It will help you as you fast. It will help you overcome the natural man, because the natural man wants to control, you. It wants you to be like, hey, serve me. But your body is a servant to your mind and your spirit. Okay, so that's another blessing of fasting, is it helps you take control of the carnal mind, the body. So this has been my testimony. I have a lot of different experiences with fasting and praying, and I know fasting and praying works. I have a testimony of that, and I'm grateful for the scriptures where we can read experiences where Jesus Christ told his apostles to fast and pray for more strength. And we can see that Alma fasted and prayed, and the sons of Mosiah, they fasted and prayed as well. So for strength. So I that's my desire, is to get closer to Jesus Christ. I know he lives, and I hope this testimony helps you guys out, and this experience helps you to fast and pray. It is a commandment to fast, so good luck, and I'm here for you. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'm here striving with you alongside you guys to keep all the commandments and do my best. We'll see you guys.